everyone. Welcome back to Keto and Crime and Thought Crime. Let's get into part 2 of Alex Jones. And to save a little bit of time, I'm just going to give a big old shout out to my wonderful patrons and my wonderful channel members. I love you so much. If you want to join them, that join button is down next to subscribe. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do that. Like, comment, share, subscribe, or join my Patreon if you'd like to down below. Always appreciated, never required. And with that, let's get into Alex Jones. Now, we've covered Alex Jones' background, upbringing, his early days on conservative talk radio and public access. Now we're going to get into the building of the InfoWars empire. Let's jump in. Since 1999, we did have the burgeoning internet, thanks to Al Gore. U.S. military invented the internet, but a running joke around my house is Al Gore invented it. But anyway, so he became one of the first internet broadcasters, and he created the Alex Jones Show, later titled InfoWars, where he broadcast basically what was on his conservative talk radio show and his public access, which he also gave up around the same time, and broadcasted it across the internet, where it was available in early 2000 to over 100 different radio stations. So they would take it off the web and broadcast it. So this conspiracy stuff was popular, and he gave them just what he wanted. He began to actually call out politicians by name. He actually did this from a room in his house, supposedly a child's bedroom that had little choo-choo train wallpaper all over the walls. And he became kind of a watchdog in local government. He would he had several Republican candidates on that kind of fell into the same sphere as he did. And he would talk about everything from the Illuminati to, you know what the stuff Alex Jones talks about. In July of 2000, he was actually accused by other talk radio show hosts and other people on Austin Public Access as trying to get their shows taken off the air. He basically silencing anyone that criticized him. So he used his power to be able to do that. He launched several investigative reports against local businesses that didn't support him, against other media personalities, and basically would announce the results of these investigations on his show on InfoWars. And then 9/11 happened. And I think we all know about 9/11. I don't need to rehash that here. But after 9/11, viewership and listenership to the Alex Jones Show actually quadrupled. And he began to put forth the theory that 9/11 was an inside job. And this caused a flurry of activity, a flurry of talk surrounding Alex Jones, and enabled InfoWars to become the beginnings of the media empire we know it to be today. And just like what happened to him after his 2000, Y2K broadcast, he becoming the leader in the 9/11 truther cause caused several of the radio stations that were carrying him to drop him. Now, for those of you that don't know what 9/11 truth is, and I'm not saying you should, you're probably a much better, happier person not knowing it, but basically it's the theory that it was all planned by the U.S. government, and that what happened on 9/11 was controlled demolition. Now, yeah, I agree. I think that's out there. I do not follow that at all. I think we were the victims of a terrorist attack. And, yeah. But so you can understand why a lot of stations started to drop his show, and why he actually started to get protests by people against him. As you can imagine, families of those that lost people in 9/11 were not real happy with Alex Jones, and that would go on to be a continuing theme in his life, where he kind of did nasty things and then drew the vitriol of the survivors of tragedy, which we will get to. And so as a result, a lot of the radio stations dropped. He began to appear on watch lists. For example, in 2006, he was on his way to cover a political event in Ottawa, Canada, where he was detained by Canadian officials at the Ottawa airport. They confiscated his passport, they confiscated all of his equipment and detained him, causing him to miss the event. And there was lots of video of Alex Jones going off. There was a screaming match, and eventually they let him go, and he was able to re-enter Canada legally later on. But he even admitted he could have handled it better, that he let his temper get the best of him. So he kind of became kind of a pariah, so to speak. As you can, especially among foreign governments, a lot of countries didn't want him in their country because of the kind of stuff that he did. The United States government, I'm sure, was watching him as well. So you would have a lot of different events where he would be unceremoniously stopped or prevented from doing certain things that would, again, he would turn around. He was a true media man. He would turn around and use that to gain popularity and to gain clout for his show, because as we know, being on YouTube, the more controversial something is, the better. And as a result, Jones started to create ruckuses. 2007, he was arrested when he and his crew crashed a live taping of the Geraldo Rivera show on Fox News, and was charged with disorderly conduct, gathering without a permit, using a megaphone without a permit, because he and his crew just barged up in there and started, yelling their conspiracy theories at Geraldo, and Geraldo wasn't a fan. So there you go. He would also do that in, I believe, 2016 at the Republican National Convention, where he also crashed a broadcast by the internet news, liberal news outlet Young Turks. He also crashed their broadcast, and I happen to have video of that, so I'm going to drop that right here.
In demographics is that he wins white males in such overwhelming numbers that it overcomes every other demographic advantage Hillary has.
Come sit in your lap.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Hey, Alex Jones, how you doing?
See you, man. You're looking sexy.
All right.
Hey, how's the revolution going? You guys starting the revolution?
We are indeed, Alex. The revolution is afoot. Welcome to the Young Turks.
You know what's wrong with America, isn't that?
I am going to restore American democracy along with progressives and conservatives in this country.
All right. Well, I got to tell you, I am really, really proud to be here with you. It's good to meet you in person.
I don't think
How are you guys doing?
We're doing okay.
You like all our Hillary for Prison shirts everywhere?
No, I kind of despise it.
What shirts are they?
I haven't seen any of them.
You haven't seen? Oh my God! You didn't see me? I don't exist if you didn't see me.
I'm not.
All right, guys. Okay. Here,
Look at this.
let me
I
see.
got a new shirt for you right here. It's rape. It's Bill Clinton that says rape. Oh God, hide that immediately. That's the big no that Roger Stone's banned.
All right, you want to take my show over? I'll take your show
Sure,
over.
go ahead.
Okay, you know what? Who does this kind of shirt? First of all, a sick guy. Second of
Bill
all,
Clinton's not a rapist, folks.
No, you know who? You know who's accused in
Get
court
her, Stone,
papers?
come on.
You know who's accused in court papers of being a rapist? Donald J. Trump. Donald Trump, Roger Stone. You know that? It's in court papers.
Oh, yeah?
And you're a sick dude, Roger Stone.
Hey, I want to rant off with you right now.
You assault me all the time.
So controversy, whether it followed him or he created it, was instrumental in building up the InfoWars empire. It was in 2014 that the actual name of the Alex Jones Show was officially changed to InfoWars, and the website Infowars.com was officially monikered. His radio show, which was again syndicated to conservative talk, was broadcast nationally by Genesis Communications Network to more than 100 AM and FM stations. And by 2010, he was attracting 2 million visitors each week. So his antics in 2006, 2007 paid off, and people wanted to find out who this person was. He was covered by many media outlets, articles in Rolling Stone and People and Time, people wanting to know. And he also produced more films, several more films. touting his 9/11 truther theory, the Illuminati theory, the theory that the New World Order is upon us, and those got national attention because he also was able to get others in the public eye. You remember Quiverful Pastor Stephen Anderson? He teamed up with Alex Jones on a couple of his films.
Christ, of course, did as well, but that wasn't really a man. You can go back and forth. The point is God in man's body. The point is, this is the real deal, ladies and gentlemen, okay? And they hate Christians and they hate gun owners because they know we understand what's going on. That's the litmus test that we know they're authoritarians. Now, he's with us for this hour and a little bit into the next hour. After the Tribulation, a film that they even did an InfoWars-style trailer without us even saying it. So I went ahead and tagged on my own promo onto it. It's up at Infowars.com right now. But After the Tribulation, let no man deceive you. Everyone needs to buy this at InfoWarsStore.com and go give it to their pastor, their preachers, and others. And again, Pastor Steve Anderson is famously 100-mile-in checkpoints. He's been beat up for asking questions. We'll play some of that later. He's the guy that said, he prays for Obama, to be brought down, which is biblical, got demonized for that. Great to have you here, but let's get right in to this film and the scriptures and where this doctrine came that it's a pre-tribulation rapture, so nobody's got to worry about anything. All the other Christians had to go through the fire, but, this generation, as it's all coming down, we're going to be left alone.
Hey, thanks for having me on, Alex. Good to be here. I think this film is most important because if you want to know why Christians are asleep right now, if you want to know why the vast majority of Christians don't want to hear about the New World Order, they don't care when you warn them about global government or police state, it's because of this doctrine. This pre-trib rapture doctrine makes everybody believe that it doesn't really matter what's going on because we're all going to be out of here.
So yeah, Alex Jones knew no morals with whom he teamed up with. Let me just tell you. So as a result, more and more. And because of the nature of the broadcast that InfoWars gave, they were labeled by many websites as fake news, conspiracy theories. I don't think I needed to tell you that, though. But being that advertising was hard to do on such a website, even though he got himself on YouTube, Spotify, and got paid for the ads that would run, he had to figure out a way to make his own money, to generate his own income. So his mail order business was born, and that is very simply being able to... He sold stuff. And I have a little clip here that will kind of tell you, and this business has become even more important since he was banned from most of the major streaming sites, and now all of his traffic is organic, not filtered from other sites. So I'm going to drop a little segment I filmed here as I go through the store on his website, and we talk about some of it. So here's that for you. How does Alex Jones make his money? That's kind of something, since he's been taken off Spotify, off YouTube, off basically any site where you can monetize with ads. And if you go to his actual website, unlike other very high traffic websites, you don't see the ads that you see on others. So we know he's not getting ad revenue. He's not partnered with Google AdSense. They took that away when he was kicked off YouTube. Also, any other ad agency that would normally monetize a website or a blog is probably not going to partner with him either. So how does Alex Jones make his money? Well, from donations from his followers. I believe he's on Subscribestar. I believe Patreon ended his partnership, so he's not there. But he also sells supplements, and I'm here on the InfoWars store just to see what kind of stuff he offers. All kinds of vitamins, solar battery packs, anything you would need for an apocalyptic situation. That's what Alex Jones sells. And here you can see, he's got iodine spray, beet extract, and Ultra 12 Energy, Turbo Force to increase your metabolism. He sells these in bundles. And he also sells t-shirts. He was the one that coined the term Hillary for prison, the shirt that got so big in the 2016 Donald Trump election. That was actually Alex Jones. So he earns his money by selling stuff. And As you can see here, there's no end to the amount of stuff that he sells. And according to his website, this is all bestsellers. So anything that his loyal followers will buy, he will sell. And that's how Alex Jones makes his money. So as you can see, his income consists mainly now of selling supplements, food for apocalyptic situation. He sells DVDs and Blu-rays of his own movies. He sells compilations of his show. He sells books that he's written or that people that work for him have written, since all other revenues have kind of been taken off. But it is estimated between the views that hit 6 million views a month that still hit InfoWars, as well as everything he sells. And he also operates 2 other websites, prisonplanet.com and newswars.com. He generates around $20 million a year in revenue. So he's doing okay, for sure. But the one thing that we all know Alex Jones for is the controversy. And there have been so much more than I just covered. The small little interrupting crowds and causing a ruckus kind of things. But there has been others that have really pulled at the heartstrings of America. And we're going to get into 2 of them. Let's jump in. Probably the most well-known is the one we're going to cover first, and that is the controversy surrounding the Sandy Hook school shooting. We know what happened in 2018. Jones was sued by 6 families of Sandy Hook victims and investigated by the FBI for defamation and for basically causing their lives to be even more terrible than since losing their children in 2012 in the actual shooting, because he was ascertaining this theory that Sandy Hook was, again, fake. It was government faked. It was crisis actors and things like that. And he was sued, and I actually have a deposition tape from that suit that we will look at in a moment. But basically, Jones later on, both on the Joe Rogan show and in this testimony you're about to look at, confessed that it was his own delirium that caused him to, his own fixation, his own mini psychosis that caused him to believe, he believes he had a mental breakdown is what caused him to say that Sandy Hook never happened. But he swears up and down to this day he never told his followers to harass the parents of those children. And Sandy Hook, of course, happened December 2012, where a lone gunman entered a school and shot several teachers and students dead. As a huge Second Amendment gun advocate, Jones, of course, covered the story right away, and he continued to cover it over the years. And finally, about 2014 is when the first messings of him tying it into other conspiracies, saying that it didn't really happen. It was all crisis actor. I don't know if that term literally means people that are hired by the government or someone else to pretend that a tragedy has occurred and then play it up for the public, because it was a conspiracy by the government to take our guns. And so here is a clip from both the Joe Rogan Experience, where Alex Jones explains his psychosis, and then a deposition tape from one of the attorneys on the case that was suing him on behalf of the families, where he explains what happened as well. So I'm going to drop both those clips right here.
Now, the quote fame of being super famous, being the conspiracy guy, I was legitimately questioning things because of Gulf of Tonkin, Northwoods, things that really happened, babies that weren't thrown out of incubators to get us in the Iraq War. But I kind of realized a few years ago that I kind of had my own mild psychosis, in that when you've been lied to by the media and the culture so much over and over again, everything then starts becoming automatically, you're sure it's fake, and then everything you see fits into that. This is probably, again, 4 or 5 years ago, I began to realize, because I was on the receiving end, it's fake. And then there's people that believe everything they hear is true. I mean, you should be questioning, you should have the right to do it, but it's somewhere in the middle.
You ever seen that before?
I don't remember.
You're not sure if you've seen this before?
No.
Okay. You'll see up at the top it has a timestamp, 12/14/12.
Yes.
You know that's the date of Sandy Hook, right?
I don't know.
You don't know that?
What, is that the date?
It is.
Okay.
It is, Mr. Jones. You will admit, I mean, you've done mocking imitations of Sandy Hook parents crying, correct?
No.
I want to play you a video clip, too, from September 24th, 2014 and November 11th, 2016. Will you play the video clip called Crying?
And then you've got parents laughing on, and then they walk over to the camera and go, and not just one, but a bunch of parents doing this. Then we see footage of one of the reported fathers of the victims, Robbie Parker, doing classic acting training where he's laughing and joking, and they say, hey, we're live, and he goes, oh. And maybe that's real. I'm sure it is.
You realize now, you were mocking the difficult emotional reactions of people who provably lost their children.
No, I was not mocking. I was showing what people were questioning. It was not to mock the parents. It was showing why people were questioning. It's you that is projecting mocking.
So, there you go. He had to settle out of court with these families for their defamation suit. As far as I know, he never faced any criminal charges or any jail time for it. Also, the other major conspiracy he's known, or controversy he's known for, is Pizzagate, where during his involvement in the 2016 election, he was instrumental in helping Donald Trump get elected. He had Donald Trump, Roger Stone, on his show many, many times. He interviewed Donald Trump many, many times, and as a result, views of the InfoWars YouTube channel and other avenues skyrocketed as a result. And so he got more and more views as a result and was instrumental in getting Donald Trump elected. Well, part of that was what is known as Pizzagate, where he was saying that code words used by Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, other Washington elites, Hollywood elites, where they would talk about getting pizza or cheese, were really code for a child sex trafficking ring that was running out of Comet Ping Pong Pizzeria in Washington, D.C. And as a result, a lone shooter actually tried to enter the pizzeria and make the ring go away. And as a result, he had to publicly apologize to the owner, James Alfontes, and publicly apologize and say that he did not mean to cause anyone to do those things. And this is what eventually caused his removal from Spotify, YouTube, name it, Facebook, name it. All of his stuff was taken off because of these sorts of things. I guess these tech companies, I don't like censorship, but they are private companies. Even though I think it's a dangerous precedent to say, I can see why he was removed after these incidents. So you have to be very careful what you say. So it's not that the government's not allowing him to say it. It's just these tech companies don't want to be held responsible for it. Now, I think it's a slippery slope. I personally would like to be able to watch Alex Jones on InfoWars. I mean, on YouTube. I think he's entertaining. But for the most part, he's not there. He was also criticized for his coverage of the Unite the Right rally in 2017 in Charlottesville, where one protester was killed. He's been criticized for almost getting sued by the Chobani Yogurt Company because he said that their employment of immigrants was causing more tuberculosis to be released into the United States. And it was also connected to child sex trafficking. So, yeah, you can say Alex Jones is a little bit off the rails. Just a little bit. His wife of 8 years, Kelly divorced him in 2018, and as a result of that trial, he actually, his attorney actually said that Jones was a character actor, that Alex Jones, the conspiracy theorist, was a role that Alex Jones, the man, played. That he really didn't believe these things, it was just a role. Now, I don't know about that. I think some of what Alex Jones, knowing what I know about how he was easily influenced in his teenage years from reading the Gary Allen book and then going on to talk about so much, putting out movies, I don't think that's an extent that I don't think anybody would go to playing a role. I believe Alex Jones believes a lot of this stuff. I really do. If you are a true InfoWars aficionado, you live, breathe, and literally eat this stuff, because if you truly follow his plan, you stay away from processed foods, you order your supplements from him, you eat whole foods, you even have purifying straws and filters that you use to drink water because you don't trust government water. People that are really into this are really into this, and it's just, I don't know. I don't know. But it's very entertaining. And if you have a sound mind and can watch this and just take it for what it is, then you'll have a good time watching him. However, if you are susceptible to having your beliefs altered, or you are susceptible to believing this sort of thing anyway, I highly recommend staying away from Alex Jones. It's wild. And as we sit right now, we know he's been banned from all streaming services. The only place you can see him is Infowars.com or through compilation clips that are still on YouTube. And I highly encourage you to check it out. And this video went on much longer than these videos went on much longer than I anticipated them going on. This became more of a history of American conspiracy theory than anything, but I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed both of them. I really, really appreciate you, everybody, tuning in. I enjoy hanging out with you guys each and every week, and I will be back really soon for the Gary Allen None Dare Call It Conspiracy book review. Until next time, keep